I'm Howard Phillips Lovecraft, and today's question comes from a young writer named Jude, who began writing some time ago, before he had ever read any of my stories, but then, once introduced to my tales, grew concerned that many of the themes and creatures inside his stories resembled my own, and he's worried that should he ever publish these tales, he will be accused of copying me. Now, first off, I just want to assuage your fears. You cannot allow yourself to be stopped simply by what other people might think. Write. That is your one job as a writer, to take the visions you have and to present them to the world. And if people feel strongly about them one way or the other, well, then that's a success. But to stop your writing simply because there might be some anticipated reaction, that, I think, is something you should avoid altogether. Now, as to this question of being accused of copying me, I don't think that's something you should be too concerned about either. You see, my work, my legacy, it's complicated. You might be aware of the fact that the Worldwide Science Fiction Society puts out an award called the Hugos and the Retro Hugos. Well, this year, I won a Retro Hugo. Well, sort of. You see, they give an award for best series, and it turns out that this year they decided to grant that particular award to all the works of Yog-Sothothery, mine included. Now, this was quite an honor on my part, but it did bring up a certain amount of controversy as people began to discuss, well, just what does it mean to be writing in the mythos, and what books count, and what stories count, and I think really people get bogged down in the details in a way that is, well, less than useful. I mean, there are a number of stories out there that are frankly just taking my monsters, taking my toys, and running with them, which is fine. I certainly allowed that while I was alive, and being dead has not changed that opinion. But when it comes to this question of copying, or this question of what is original, what is replication, I remind people that I myself took inspiration from other authors, from other great artists, whether it was Poe or Dunsany or Algernon Blackwood, whoever. I was able to take their works, synthesize them into my own, and that's what I encourage others to do as well. Although you don't just have to take my word for it, we can speak to someone who knows all about copying and facsimiles. PH, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Oh, screw you, Howie. You wish you were interesting enough to copy. I am the original recipe with all the herbs and spices.
Well, there you have it. Write your stories. That's what matters more than anything else. And if by some chance the monsters, the themes happen to resemble mine, well, perhaps we're just kindred spirits whose minds are on similar wavelengths. Or perhaps we're both just stealing from Arthur Machen, which is always a valid creative choice. As always, I'm Howard Phillips Lovecraft. Thank you.